Hello everyone, this is Vibhana Sheen, and it's Corona time. We are all from our home, working from our home, having a lockdown. So I thought of utilizing this time by having a small book reading from one of my favorite books, from one of my favorite authors, Dr. Brian Weiss, Messages from the Masters. A background of Dr. Brian Weiss: he's a hypnotherapist, a past life regressioner, and he has written a lot of books on the same topic. And his one of the renowned books from him is Many Lives, Many Masters, which you probably would have read at some point of time. If not, please do read it whenever you get time, or you, if you could see it online somewhere, make use of it. So I'm beginning with the chapter 1. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Please join in for this book reading, and I'm beginning with chapter 1, The Beginning. Our task is to learn, to become godlike through knowledge. We know so little. By knowledge, we approach God, and then we can rest. Then we can come back to teach and help others. For those of you meeting me for the first time, a few words of introduction are needed. I have come a long way from the fateful day when I, a classically trained physician, professor of psychiatry, and confirmed skeptic, realized that human life is grander and more profound than even my rigorous medical training had led me to believe. Educated as an academic, I received my undergraduate degree from Columbia University and my medical degree from the Yale University of School of Medicine, where I was also the chief resident in psychiatry. I have been on the teaching faculties of several university medical schools, and for 11 years I served as chairman of the Department of Psychiatry at Mount Sinai Medical Center in Miami Beach, Florida. By the time I first met Catherine, the patient whose story is told in my first book, Many Lives, Many Masters, I had published more than 40 scientific papers and book chapters, and I had achieved international recognition in the fields of psychopharmacology and brain chemistry. Not surprisingly, I was completely skeptical of unscientific fields such as parapsychology. I knew nothing about the concept of past lives or reincarnation, nor did I want to. And then came my sudden and shocking introduction to the spiritual, the right brain, the non-linear. Catherine inexplicably began recalling what seemed to be the past life memories. Somehow, all of her clinical symptoms improved via this regression process. I was amazed. But I was also beginning to find the harmony between science and intuition. This process began 20 years ago, and since then I have regressed more than 2,000 more patients to perinatal, in utero, or past life memories. I have already written 3 books about these experiences, and the books have been translated into nearly 30 languages. Because my work deals with the themes of reincarnation, past life regression therapy, and the reunion of soulmates, I have become the unofficial dean of reincarnation. I welcome this characterization because I believe we do reincarnate until we learn our lessons and graduate. And as I have repeatedly pointed out, there is considerable historical and clinical evidence that reincarnation is a reality. But this book, which reflects that I teach my patients and audiences today, is about much more than reincarnation and regression therapy. These are important parts of the puzzle, but there are also other important pieces, and one must know them all and know them well. I have studied healers, mediums, psychics, and other involved in holistic and alternative practices. And I've learned that there are other avenues to one's spiritual awakening. This book represents the culmination of 20 years of experience and studies, not only with reincarnation, but in the movement known as New Age. It is my attempt to remind you about love and joy and to teach you how to bring these qualities into your life now, while you are still in the physical state. You will learn techniques for achieving levels of inner peace and happiness that may be lacking in your present lives. You will find a great deal of material about the nature of the soul, about immortality, and about values. There are many practical tips and techniques for transforming your life, your relationships, your moods and mental states, your physical health and well being, and your destiny. Knowledge of past lives is not necessary to achieve these positive changes. The ultimate key is understanding. As you understand your true nature and your true purpose, your life will be permanently transformed, and then you can begin to transform the world. My life has been changing the same way. Past lives are still a significant concept and value for me, but understanding and experiencing and expressing love, joy, and inner peace in my everyday life have become more significant. I am extremely grateful that Catherine came into my life on that fateful day and opened my mind to the concept of past lives, as this became the avenue to my personal awakening. And this awakening led to spiritual growth and understanding. A striking and important feature of Catherine's regressions was her ability, while deeply hypnotized, to channel or transmit detailed and accurate information and from higher sources of knowledge. This material has been inspiring and life transforming to many thousands of people from all over the planet. Catherine attributed the source of this wisdom to the masters, highly evolved souls, not in physical form. They told her wise and wonderful things, and she relayed this information to me. After emerging from the hypnotic state, Catherine could remember many details from the past lives she had experienced, but she never remembered anything about her contact with these masters because the messages from the masters were transmitted through her and did not originate from her memory. In letters and at speaking engagements, I am regularly besieged with requests for more messages from the masters. Have you heard more? Are you still in contact with them? What have you learned? The answer is yes. The answer is this book. Through other patients, my travels, and my own meditation, I have learned so much more. In addition, it has become clear that we need to understand at a deeper level what has already been provided. Thus, key messages from my earlier books have been partially reproduced here in italics at the beginning of each chapter and sometimes within the chapter. In knitting together the old and the new, I have become aware that an entire spiritual philosophy has been gently unfolded and handed to me. At its center is love. I believe that we, as humans, are ready to embrace it. Especially over the past 30 years, we have been searching for stability by reviving ancient wisdom, as if the sheer volume of our scientific and technological advances has thrown us out of balance. Unfortunately, fortunately, we have also been distilling this old wisdom to discard outdated superstitions and myths. Our consciousness has finally evolved into accepting this filtered wisdom of the ages. We are swimming in a sea of new age, holistic, and spiritual awareness that seem to have flooded over the dams of old beliefs and of constricted consciousness. The evidence is everywhere. New thought is becoming mainstream. The National Institutes of Health is funding studies in acupuncture, herbal medicine, hypnosis, and altered states of consciousness. Insurance companies are covering alternative and complementary healing techniques. Online advertising companies are promoting commercial products with international campaigns that feature reincarnation as a selling tool. Movies and television programs trumpet new age themes to millions of interested viewers. For several hundred years, people have mistakenly believed that technology, once fully developed, would solve the ills of mankind, that science would provide the path out of the woods, away from illness, poverty, misery, and pain. We now know that technology and science alone are not capable of solving our problems. Technology can be used for good or bad purposes. Only when used with enlightenment, wisdom, and balance can technology truly help us. We must find the right balance. Love is the fulcrum of this balance. When people have intense spiritual experiences, the energy of love is nearly always evoked. This form of love is unconditional, absolute, and transcendent. It is like a pulse of pure energy, an energy that also possesses powerful attributes such as wisdom, compassion, timelessness, and sublime consciousness. Love is the most basic and pervasive energy that exists. It is the essence of our being and of our universe. Love is the fundamental building block of nature, connecting and unifying all things, all people. Love is more than a goal, more than a fuel, more than an ideal. Love is our nature. We are love. I hope that this book will teach you how to recognize love, how to cultivate and enlarge your experience of love, especially toward yourself and in relationships, and how to manifest and radiate your love to others. By doing so, you will inevitably experience more joy, health, and happiness in your life. Love is the ultimate healer. In the near future, some attributes of its energy will indeed be studied scientifically, will be quantified, measured, and understood. Other attributes will remain mysterious, transcendent, and beyond measurement. Fortunately, when the energy of love is deeply felt, its healing effects are experienced, whether or not it is measured or understood. Physicists know that everything is energy. Nuclear bombs are built based upon techniques of energy transformation and release. Herbal and traditional medicines work because of energy transformation induced at a cellular level. The results are vastly different, but the underlying mechanism are the same: energy transformations. The energy of love is potentially more powerful than any bomb or more subtle than any herb. We just have not yet learned how to harness this most basic and pure energy. When we do, healing at all levels, individual and planetary, can occur. Prior to this book, I have been describing the phenomenology, the characteristics of various metaphysical experiences, reincarnation, the nature of the soul, healers and healing, psychic events and mediumistic abilities, the near death and after death experiences, and the incredible wisdom of the beings who appear to exist on the other side. Now is the opportunity to understand and to experience the energy that is common to and connects all of these experiences, phenomena, and beings. When you do, your life will be expanded and enhanced, and you will be able to remove the blocks and obstacles to your inner peace, joy, and happiness. Our souls are always drawn towards love. When we truly comprehend the concept that love is an all encompassing energy whose healing pulse can quickly transform our bodies, minds, and souls, then we will transcend our chronic pain and ills. End of the chapter. There are instructions how to use this book. It is vital to carry your logical, rational mind on this journey. To accept everything without reflection, contemplation, and thoughtfulness would be just as foolish as rejecting everything in the same manner. Science is the art of observing carefully with an unbiased, non prejudicial eyes. I have tried to do that. I have encountered some extremely talented people, psychics, mediums, healers, and others, and I have encountered even more who have limited talent or skill and are mostly opportunists. I have spent many years learning and applying the scientific method, and my skeptical mind is always on alert, passing all my experiences through its scientific filter. But I've also been careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. One person or one experience might be disappointing, but the next might be truly extraordinary and should not be discounted because of previous events. I have written this book to give back a little of that which has been given to me. I pondered how important other book could be. After all, I have already written three, and there is much to digest in those. And spiritual guidance books seem to be everywhere these days. What would another book add? Teaching is such an individual process, I remembered, dependent on style, timing, personal preferences, values, and so many other factors. Other people in books or seminars or by example may tell you similar things, but perhaps in a different way. Even though there may be one truth, many approaches exist to this truth. Yet the answer is always the same: the truth did not change. It does not mean that one teacher is better than the other or that the methods of philosophy of that teacher are superior. Just different, that is all. What works for you is fine, and what does not work for you will work for someone else. We are all going to same place. My path of understanding more about our spiritual nature came through many years of arduous academic study, culminating in my medical training, psychiatric specialization, and several decades of post academic experiences and clinical studies. That has been my path. Others may reach a similar path by having a powerful, spontaneous, and overwhelming experience, such as an NDE, which is a near death experience. Still, others might reach this level using a single technique, such as a practice of meditation over a longer period of time. These may be their paths. There are many roads to enlightenment. Together, we can explore them. Our beliefs can be altered by the power and intimacy of personal experience. You can begin to understand something when you experience its essence. Your belief becomes a knowing. It is not enough just to read about the concepts presented here or to rely exclusively on the experiences of others, those presented as examples or illustrations of the concept. Therefore, throughout this book are exercises and various techniques to enhance your own experiences to help to transform you directly. For many years, I have advised my patients to keep a dream journal, jotting down memories of dreams as soon as possible after awakening. With a little practice, dream recall is significantly enhanced. And the more details are remembered and recorded, the easier it becomes to analyze the dream accurately. The same is true with meditation and visualization. And as you try these exercises, you may find it useful practice to write down or to journal your thoughts, feelings, observations, and experiences. As with dreams, the more you journal, the easier it becomes for you to remember and to process the details of your experiences. Practicing these techniques has been difficult for me, so I can tell you from my experience not to get frustrated. Progress may seem quite slow. I find myself getting lazy, not meditating for weeks at a time, but I am reminded to resume the practice. I still fall into the ruts and potholes of life, swept away at times by pride or envy or insecurity. We are all human and life is hard. Frustration is a normal and common reaction. We are not patient species. As I have mentioned, it is the direction that matters, not the speed. If you are evolving into a more loving and compassionate, less violent person, then you are moving in the right direction. Like me, you may become distracted, make wrong turns at time, lost until you find the way back. It may seem as if you are taking two steps forward and then one step backwards, but that's all right. That's how it works when we are in human form. Enlightenment is a slow and arduous process requiring dedication and discipline. It's perfectly fine to rest now and then. You are not really going backwards, you are consolidating and resting. Progress is not always linear. You may be very advanced when it comes to charity and compassion, but more of a novice concerning anger or patience. It is important not to judge yourself. If you don't judge yourself or allow others to judge you, you will not become frustrated. The experiences you will encounter as you go through this book are meant to aid your evolution into a loving, joyful, non-violent, and non-fearful being. Since progress along the spiritual path is not linear, you may find some of the concepts and exercise quite easy and others more difficult. This is to be expected. I have fallen down many times, recovered my awareness, and resumed my journey. You probably have too, also. With this book, I hope to help you to fall less frequently and to find it easier to recover and to progress. I know that with your letters and feedback to me, you will help me in the same way. Without the wisdom and inspiration of the masters, this book would never have been written, for these codes are stepping stones to the ideas and practices that are presented in the chapters. The thoughts and concepts contained in the messages are like special seeds that have grown and ripened in my mind over the years into beautiful flowers, and these flowers are now presented to you. The quotes from the masters are also like the bells that the Buddhists often sound to remind them to return their wandering minds back to the present time, back to mindfulness and awareness. The messages from the masters similarly remind us to allow our minds to return to what is important: love, peace, eternal life, spiritual thoughts, and practices, and to put aside what is unimportant: material things, pride and ego, violence, fear, worry, and hatred. The quotes, like the bells, bring us back to awareness. Every time you encounter some words in italics, slow down and digest their meaning. You will rarely taste anything sweeter. We are all rowing the same boat, and there are ominous storms on the horizon. Violence and short sightedness seem to dominate our world. We need to row in harmony, to renounce hatred, anger, fear, and pride. We need to have the courage to do the right things. We need to love and respect one another, to see and appreciate the innate beauty and dignity of everyone, because we are all souls, all of the same substance. Only by rowing together as one crew can we avoid the storms and find our way home. So, friends, this is the end of chapter 1. I'll get back to you tomorrow at the same time to do the reading for chapter 2. Stay tuned, stay blessed. Thank you.